Hey everyone, today I have the Kershaw Launch 1, and this is definitely one of my favorite knives in my collection. So it's an auto from Kershaw, and it's definitely super snappy. I think it's just a great design, just looks really good. There's a few other autos in the auto line that I really like. I'm eyeing the Kershaw Launch 11 at the moment. I think that's a pretty cool looking knife. When it's deployed, it's about 8 1/4 inches. When it's closed, it comes in at about 4 3/4. The blade length on this is 3 3/8, at least from my measurements. It's got a drop point blade, and the weight comes in at 3.92 ounces, so just a little bit below 4 ounces. But for its size, I consider it a really light knife due to the aluminum handles and the simplicity of what's going on the inside. One of the main reasons I got it was the fact that it was an auto and that it's made in America. So you know you're getting some good quality. Just an all-around great knife. This is definitely in my top 5 favorite knives. And the ergos on this blade is perfect. In my hand, it fits really well. For my medium-sized hands, it fits really good. Even though there's no jimping on the blade, since the grip and the purchase is so good on the knife, my thumb actually fits in there really well. And to be honest, I don't even think I'm gonna have to add any jimping. I like it just the way it is, and it feels really secure in my hand. So I pretty much covered all the things I do like about this knife, and it's pretty much everything. I really don't have any issues with this blade. But if I was to pick out one thing, and it's not even really a big deal, is the pocket clip covers one of the hardware screws. And again, it's not a big deal, but when I do take it apart to clean it, I have to take off the pocket clip in order to get to this screw under here. So that's really my only issue, and it's not even a big one. So yeah, this knife is awesome, and a lot of people that I talk to about this specific blade, they just love this thing, or any of the Launch series blades. The only other one I have is the Launch 10, and this thing it's a lot smaller than the Launch 1, but it's still super snappy and a great design. And yeah, this thing just flies right open. Again, I love the design of the 10, but I'll do another video on this later on and eventually customize it to what I want it to be. But as for now, we'll focus on the Launch 1, and just to do a quick size comparison so you guys can get a feel for how large this knife is. More than likely everybody's got a Pilar, so we'll just compare it with the CRKT Pilar here, and it's quite a bit larger than the Pilar. So since the knife itself is fantastic, and I don't really feel the need to do much to it, so I won't be changing a lot to this blade, but I will be adding a copper spine here just to add some color, and I think it's gonna clash really well with the black aluminum scales. Another thing I'm going to be doing is the pocket clip. Either I will be laying on a thin layer of copper over the original pocket clip, or I'll be creating a whole new pocket clip just out of copper. The last thing I'll be doing is be drilling out the button for the release, and I will be filling it with copper and polishing it. That way it just has, I guess, a little more class, you could say, and a little more color pop. But again, this knife is great just the way it is, but I'm going to make it my own and make it stand out from the rest. The stone wash on this blade is beautiful, so I won't be needing to be touching this, since I really like the way this looks on the blade itself. And I might do a stone wash on the aluminum scales, but we'll see when it comes to it. Alright, now that I've talked about the knife a little bit and explained what I'm going to be doing with the little custom touches, we can start taking it apart. So I have my T9 and my T6 Oriya toolkit. So I'll be using this to take it apart. So let's get to it. Alright, now that it's all taken apart, we can see one of the things that's a huge plus in my book is the fact that it's super simple, and the way it's designed is very minimal. You have 3 screws holding the whole thing together. Obviously your pivot pin, 1 spring for the action, and a stop pin right here, and 2 screws for the pocket clip. So when you need to get in here and clean it, it doesn't take too long. Just super easy to take this thing apart and maintain it. So you can see here on the inside, when the blade is sitting on the inside of the scales, I'm gonna have barely enough room, so I gotta be careful to not interfere with the blade. So that's what I'll be doing with the spine of the knife. I'm gonna have to take down just a thin layer of the spine, of the original spine on the scale. That way I can squeeze in a thin piece of the copper, and I'll use the holes in the copper as well to pinch it together in between the scales. And the way I imagine it's gonna look is something similar to a Osborne 940, since they have that purple, that really pretty purple on the spine of the knife. And as for the pocket clip, like I said, I'm either going to create a whole new pocket clip or create an inlay that goes around the whole pocket clip. And again, just a super simple design. That's why I really love this knife. So now that it's all taken apart and I explain what I'm going to be doing to the knife, let's get to it. now that I have everything customized, I'll give you a quick run through of what I did. So for these scales, as you saw in the video earlier, I tumbled them, but I wasn't getting the look I wanted, so I actually used some 600 grit sandpaper to get this worn down finish, and I think it came out pretty good. I wasn't actually going for this look, so I just used the sandpaper and I just went for it, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Again, it's just kind of that worn down look. And then on the inside of the spine here, in order for the copper spine to fit, I had to mill down internal spine, I guess you could call it. So I was able to get that milling bit. I got it through Amazon and it came the next day, so I was able to continue the project, and it turned out pretty good. I did it manually, but I definitely need a milling tool in order to hold the pieces really firm so that they don't jump around. But for doing it by hand, it came out pretty straight. So I did that on both of the scales. And as for the blade, I didn't touch it because I like the stone wash just the way it is. And then for the button here, which was one of the main things I was concerned about, but I was able to actually drill out the center of it, and it came out pretty cool. So I gave this the sculpted look to it, so you can see, just to give it some texture and just a little flash when it hits the light just right. So I'm really happy the way this button came down. So I did that to the button. I created a completely new pocket clip just out of the copper. It's a little on the thin side, but I tested it out a few times in my pocket and it was pretty firm. And I kept the old one just in case this doesn't stay its shape, because if it gets bent out of whack, then I was considering even putting it on the original just as a cover. And I left it just a little bit longer here so that if I have to later on, I can just bend it over the original one so that it doesn't pop up like that when it's bolted on. So that little lip will actually act as just a little latch-on piece for the original clip. But for now, it's serving its purpose, and I think it turned out really good. So I did the sculpted texture on this as well, so that'll look really good. As for the other side of the scale, since there's only holes and I'm not a fan of holes in my knives, I just created a little piece here that fits into this section right here. So you can see right there, it's gonna fit in just like that. Just to give it just another flash of copper, and then that way the holes will be filled with something and it's not just two holes in my handles. But that's just personal reference. Not a fan of holes. So I created that, a filler piece on that side. And then for the spine of the knife, I actually did just a couple grooves on top, so the light will hit it just right at certain angles. And I'll give it a little bit of flash. And then on the inside, I did the sculpted look as well. Because when this thing is inserted on the scales, like so, it's actually going to be popping up in these little milled sections, so you'll be able to see it in there. That's why I did the sculpted texture on the sides of the spine. And this little smaller part, I put just a little indent, so that when it's in between the scales, it doesn't shift all over the place. So it actually has like a locking point. So now that I walked you guys through the custom touches I did, let's start putting it together. So I'll be using my Araya toolkit with the T6 and the T9 bits. is all put together, and it looks pretty good, all finished. So you got the copper touches here on the button, the sculpted texture, just for a little extra grip when you push the button. And then you have the left hand side pocket clip filler. That turned out really good too, with the sculpted texture on that as well. And then we have the spine of the knife, which turned out really good too. Nice copper. And then even on the inside, you can see the little copper touches I put. And then the pocket clip, which is really nice when the light hits it. So, and even that rough finish, or the worn look, I actually like the way it came out. Definitely gives it some character. Let's see if it still flips out. And sure enough, it does. Just gonna do it a few times. Just kidding, I'm just having fun with it. But I'm glad it works, and it flies out just like before. And there it is, all complete. The original stonewash finish is exactly the way I like it, so there's no need to do anything to that. So there it is. Let me know down in the comments of what you guys think, and let me know if you guys are liking these scales with the worn finish on it. Pocket clip is still functional, so it's got some retention, so we'll see if that lasts. I'll keep you guys updated on this, and then I'll probably do a video later on when all the copper is tarnished, because it's gonna happen, and we'll see what it looks like. And feel free to share this video and like this video, and don't forget to subscribe. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for my next videos.